Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how I set up my weekly layouts in my bullet journal for June. This month's theme is strawberries, and if you missed how I set up my monthly layouts with my calendar and cover page, I'll put a link in the corner up here so you can go watch that and see how I did those. There's also a free printable in there if you want to get a cover page and get started really quickly. And today I'm going to be doing my weekly layouts in that same theme. So I started off with my first layout by creating a little mini calendar in the top left corner, and then I'm creating a large rectangle that I'm splitting into 4 smaller rectangles, and these are going to be for the days of the week. I'm doing 4 on one side, and then 3 of the boxes on the right side will be the other 3 days, and then the last box will just be for notes. Then I also created 2 boxes in the empty space on the right page, and those are going to be for my to-do list and my meal plan. Now in the big empty space on the left side of the spread, I'm going to be doing a strawberry illustration just as I have been doing for my other spreads this month, and I'm starting off with a cluster of strawberry leaves. And I went over in more detail how to draw these in my last video, so definitely check that out if you're interested. And if you've already followed along, then you'll be an expert at making these by now. But they're not too hard to draw with a little bit of practice. So I'm doing a few clusters of leaves and then some strawberries and strawberry flowers as well. Then I'm going to scatter a few small illustrations on the right side. You'll notice I had left some empty gaps in the boxes because I already knew where I was going to put these little clusters, but if you wanted, you could draw these first and then draw the boxes around them after the fact. After my illustrations are done, I'm going to add some color to the spread. First, I'm using a red marker and a pink marker, and I'm just creating little circles in the top left corner of 7 of these boxes, and this is going to be where I put my dates for the week. And then after I have my days written in, I'm going to go ahead and color in all of these illustrations that I've done. By the way, if this layout looks familiar, it is a similar layout to one that I did last month for my bubble tea theme, and I think it was one of the most popular layouts for the month. So it's clearly one that works for many people, and if you want to see this layout in a different theme, you can go check out that video as well to see it with my bubble tea theme. Again, I'm keeping this coloring pretty simple because the illustration already has a lot of detail in it, and I don't want to cover that up with too much fancy shading. Then I'm going to be using my red marker just to give these boxes a drop shadow. This just adds a lot of dimension to these boxes, and it's kind of just a really quick way to make them seem three-dimensional. So now on to the second layout. I'm starting off by shading a large area in the top left corner, almost like a scribble. You'll notice I left some white space because I kind of like the look that almost makes it look like brush strokes. And then in the empty space next to that, I'm adding a little box for my tasks, and I'm doing sort of like a scribbly double frame. I'm kind of going for this like very loose organic feel for this layout, so I don't want anything to be too perfect or gridded. Then in that area that I shaded in, I'm going to write the date range for this week. And I just did that with a black pen, but I thought it needed a little more contrast against the red, so I'm also taking my white gel pen and sort of adding like highlight areas to that lettering. I also doodled a few little strawberries and strawberry flowers around the dates and also the frame. Next, I'm going to be writing the days of the week. I'm going for a nice little brush script for these days of the week. And I'm planning on having a design go down the center of this spread. So you'll notice when I go and write the dates on the right side of the page, I did leave an empty space to the left so that I can add in my illustration afterwards. Again, if it's easier for you, you can do your illustrations first and then add any boxes or lettering at the end just to make sure you leave enough space. But this is going to be a really easy one that you can work in any kind of space that you have. So I'm adding these lines to divide the days, and then I'm going to move on to the illustration in the center. So this one's going to be more of a free form illustration. All of my past drawings for this theme have been strawberry plants that are all connected and very realistic, but this is going to be a more whimsical illustration where I just have like berries and flowers free floating around. Some are going to be upside down and I'm going to have them just disconnected and sort of like they're floating in the air. I really liked this option because I think the hardest part of drawing strawberry plants is actually the leaves. So if you're having trouble with drawing those, then this is a good option for you to just draw the berries and flowers, because I think those are pretty easy to draw. Strawberries are a pretty easy shape and the flowers are very simple as well. And then I did leave another little space in the bottom right corner to draw another box for my meals. I do try to leave 2 different boxes in each spread for different notes and things throughout the week. Then I'm going to go ahead and color these. Nothing different from what I've done, so I'll just speed through those. By the way, I also wanted to mention that I really love using these little decorative pins and clips to keep my spreads open while I'm working. It's just really handy to keep your notebook flat. You never want your page to curl up because this might mess you up while you're drawing. So I have this little clothespin that I decorated with washi tape, and I think it's just like fun to look at when you're doing this too. And if you want to see how I did that, I have a video on like different ways to use washi tape in your bullet journal, and one of them is just to make these fun little clips like this one. Alright, now to finish off my dates, I'm going to take a light pink marker and sort of write behind the black lettering that I did earlier, just to have a really subtle shadow effect with the dates. Now onto the third layout. For this one, I'm going to be doing 7 separate illustrations of strawberries, and I'm going to put the date inside the strawberries. So I'm doing different sorts of clusters here. So you'll see I have 1 large strawberry, a pair of strawberries, a strawberry with a flower, just different sorts of arrangements just to switch it up. And I'm going to be doing 7 of these for each day of the week. And once I have those sketched out, I'm going to go ahead and just quickly letter the days of the week around the strawberry clusters. And of course, also adding the dots, because it wouldn't look like a proper strawberry if you didn't have all the little seeds in there. I'm going to color these in just a minute, but I wanted to add a little more structure to the page, so I'm taking my red marker and just drawing a nice border all around the page, and also separating each day of the week so that each day has its own nice little box. So now I'm going to go ahead and color these berries in. I do want to mention that you saw that I had drawn all of these seeds already, and then I'm coloring on top of that, and the pen I used actually did smudge a little, and wherever I colored, it did bleed a little bit. So I just tried to color really quickly to prevent that. But if you want to prevent this altogether, you can go ahead and color your strawberries in while they're blank, and then go in with your black pen and draw the seeds and the dates afterwards. Obviously, this might also differ with what pen you're using. So the pen I had used this time was my Pentel Fude Touch pen, but with my Micron pens, I usually don't get any bleeding. So you can switch the order of things, or you can use a different pen, but just a warning, if you did anything before you're coloring, it could bleed. But anyway, with all of those strawberries colored, I'm gonna go in and letter the dates into each of them. I like the clusters that have 2 strawberries because for this week, with the dates in the double digits, I was able to do 1 number in each berry, and I think that's just a little fun and different. And then in the bottom right corner, I'm going to add my boxes as usual. And like I always say, these boxes can be anything you want them to be. For me, they're to-do lists and meal plans, but for you, this could be assignments or events. Just anything that will make it work for your life is completely fine. Now for my last weekly spread of the month, I always like to include one spread that's very quick and easy and that also doesn't have a ton of illustration in case you don't have time or are just a little intimidated by the illustration. I think washi tape is a great option to decorate up your bullet journal. And as you can see, I have quite the collection of washi tape. So I do try to use it as much as I can in my bullet journal. So I just picked a couple of different rolls of washi tape that I thought would work with this. I don't have any that have strawberries on it or anything like that, but I did pick out like a red washi tape and also one with flowers, and I thought those worked pretty well with the theme. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. It's kind of nice to switch it up, especially when it's the last week of the month and you might be a little sick of the theme by then. So sometimes it's nice to have something a little more neutral for your last weekly layout. So I had picked out these 2 washi tapes, and then I just thought I needed something a little more. I like to do things in odd numbers and in 3s, so I thought that 3 different patterns would complete this look, and I think it was a nice addition. And you might notice that I also try to pick washi tapes that are different widths and different types of patterns. So I have some that are geometric, some that are floral, and I just like to switch it up that way just to have some variation within the page. So you'll see I just created 2 very quick and easy decorative borders on either side of this spread. And this is a great way to use up supplies that you already have laying around. I'm sure you guys all have washi tape. So use it up on these spreads, and especially for weeks when you don't have time to do a full-blown spread. So now completing the space in between these borders, I'm just taking my pink pen and creating long divider lines across the page. You'll notice for these very quick spreads, I don't even measure, so that's why my spaces look a little uneven. It's because they are. I'm just too lazy to measure sometimes, and you know what? It's perfectly fine. Nobody's gonna know, and it still works for the most part. If you're a little bit more particular, you can take the extra 30 seconds and measure those out to be perfectly spaced. So just creating some really simple areas for me to write the dates and my headers here, and I'm just gonna call that one done. This is a really quick page, so I don't want to overdo it and add too much stuff. Alright, so those are my 4 weekly spreads for June. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by and just taking a little look at my bullet journal. And make sure to like and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content like this. And I'll see you guys again next time.